There is a lot of nonsense out there. Of course there is, Jim. Absolutely there is. But I would not be in this field for over 45 years if I honestly didn't believe that we're dealing with something real, something magical, something wonderful. And even though I believe wholeheartedly in life after death as well, because of what? Because of the wealth of data that I've gathered over the years. But certainly he propelled CE5 into the public domain. So we had never tried it in over 45 years, and we tried it for the first time at Bonnybridge last month, over a month and a half ago. And we consisted, I know it sounds crazy, and I felt crazy doing it, I'll be honest with you. I felt, oh my God, what am I doing? Right, everybody join hands, and I'm going to play some tones, some of these tones for Stephen Greer plays to create that ambience. Yes, at the end of the day, I mean, Scotland has been touched by the UFO presence like any other continent, any other country.
The following is a conversation with Malcolm Robinson. Now, Malcolm has been a UFO and paranormal investigator for more than 45 years. Exploring the world's strangest mysteries, founder of Strange Phenomena Investigations back in 1979, Malcolm has travelled the globe. He's spoken at major conferences and was the first Scotsman to lecture on UFOs in America. He's the author of more than 40 books, including the A70 UFO Incident, Scotland's first alleged UFO abduction case, and UFO Case Files of Scotland, which chronicles encounters from the Bonnybridge wave of chilling close encounters stories. Among the many cases he's investigated, one of the most famous is the 1979 Dechmont Woods Incident, where forestry worker Bob Taylor claimed to have been confronted by a strange craft and injured in the encounter, an event serious enough to prompt a police investigation. Malcolm was so involved in that case that he currently has the actual pair of trousers worn by forestry worker Bob Taylor. From UFOs to hauntings and even a submarine trip in search of the Loch Ness Monster, Malcolm's work blends rigorous investigation with a lifelong passion for the unexplained. Malcolm has been investigating UAPs for longer than I have been alive. His opinion is well worth listening to. So, the following is a conversation with Malcolm Robinson. Thanks so much for joining me, Malcolm. I really do appreciate it. It's great to talk. I wonder, where did your interest in this subject come from? This sort of unknown, the paranormal UFOs. Have you been able to sort of trace it back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've said this before on different shows. I've always been interested in strange phenomena. Ever since I was a small boy growing up in Scotland, I had this deep-held fascination for all things weird and wonderful. And I guess it kind of started from watching shows like The Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. You had The Day the Earth Stood Still, all the movies, the B movies coming from America. Then I started to read books on ghosts and UFOs. And I've said it before, Jim, I honestly felt there were no validity to any of these claims to do with ghosts, UFOs, and SF. What a load of nonsense, It's like anything else in life. Once you set out and talk to people and visit a place and boots on the grounds, there's no smoke without fire, that old saying. There is a lot of nonsense out there. Of course there is, Jim. Absolutely there is. But I would not be in this field for over 45 years if I honestly didn't believe that we're dealing with something real, something magical, something wonderful. Do we have answers? No, we don't. I mean, I'm not an expert. The media say I'm an expert. I'm anything but that. I'm just a Joe Blogs guy with this deep fascination for the weird and the wonderful. And over the years, I've met some wonderful people. Philip Mantle, who you've interviewed, obviously, very, very dear friend of mine. And you meet some incredible people. And it's why I do lectures and talks and podcasts and why I write books. The reason being, what am I meant to do? When people give me all this wonderful information, when I come off the stage, oh, Mr. Robinson, I've never even told my husband about this, but I'm going to tell you, I can't dig a hole in the garden and put all that information. You've got to get it out. So what I do is I just get that out, make sure it's all, validated. And once I'm happy with it, then into the books it go. And there's bound to be somebody somewhere from maybe a wee wife in Stranraer or Barnsley or Patterham. You know what? That happened to me. Exactly what I've just read. So it's like a big jigsaw. We're trying to put all the pieces together, and where does it take us? So it's been a great journey, and I love it to death. And I'd be here for a million years, still in the stuff I've seen over the years in haunted houses and UFOs. But that's because I've put myself there. That's because I'm there, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So you're back in Scotland now, are you? You're based up there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had 23 wonderful years living in England, and I miss Hastings. I finished up in Hastings on the East Coast, East Sussex. Oh, what a beautiful place that is. The old town, you know, it was buzzing in the summer. You had the Beatles Day, you had the Wine and Seafood Festival, you had the Green Man Festival, and just it was just place was rocking. Came back to Scotland in 2021 after 23 years away. And so, yeah, I'm back here with my info, as you say.
Yeah. What is it about Scotland? I mean, we hear there's quite a few cases. I know you've written about was it the A70 case?
Yeah.
Is it Dechmont Woods? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I mean, extensively on that. There does seem to be quite a lot of activity in Scotland, and we look around the country. I know that people have sightings all over, but in terms of really significant cases, there seems to be quite a bit in Scotland. Have you made a link, or you got a take on that?
Well, I guess at the end of the day, I mean, Scotland has been touched by the UFO presence like any other continent, any other country. Scotland's no different. We have had a number of quite astonishing UFO cases. Now, it's a great shame, but where are those cases now? You know, since probably Gary and Colin on the A70 in 1992, I'm not aware of any major cases. You know, they are lights in the sky, they're structured objects, yeah, of course, but nothing as magical as what happened to Gary and Colin or to the forestry worker Robert Taylor in Dechmont Woods. And obviously, Newton of Falkland was quite a controversial case where a lady saw quite a significant amount of these small grey beings in a field, lifting canisters and containers towards a larger structure, which was nestling in a wee kind of alcove in the woods. So Scotland has seen a number of big cases for sure, and it's just wonderful for me and my colleagues just to try and get a handle on this and see what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Philip Mansell, obviously talking to him. You guys have been doing this for such a long
And
time, and
we're
I,
dinosaurs.
but a wealth of information, and it fascinates me how that affects you, over all those years, and how your opinion changes, perhaps, or what you see with the younger generation, new people coming in and jumping into this after a couple of years, and sort of getting deep into it. You got any thoughts on that? How does it feel seeing it all kicking off again?
Well, certainly it's a good thing for sure. I mean, when I started out, Jim, there was only, well, basically it was only us back in 1979. You did have the Scottish Society for Psychical Research. They'd always been there. But as far as we clubs go, they were just us, you know. Since then, it's an explosion, not just in England and Wales, but certainly Scotland, you know. And the wealth of television shows coming up now is fantastic. You know, you've got independent television makers. I've dealt with many. And now, instead of one-sided, which it used to be in back in my day, oh, what a lot of rubbish, it's in the middle now. It'll go either way to the viewer, you know. And I always say in my talks and podcasts that even though I believe wholeheartedly that we're dealing with something off this earth, I still say the vast majority of things flitting about our skies is our own blackbird jet technology. And it's only a small percent. But that 1% shouldn't be there, you know. And it's that 1% that keeps me and my colleagues hands onto the whole thing. You know, we just want to know what's going on. So I have seen it changing over the years, absolutely. There's a number of people writing books about it, this, that, and the other TV shows, as I said. Podcast is a big thing. I've been asked many times to do my own podcast. Jim, I can't be bothered. I've got too much to do, you know.
Yeah.
I'm happy to come on with work with guys like you because all what you're trying to do is same as me. Talk to the people, get those stories out, and let the viewer make up their own mind. And as long as the evidence is there, then and it's controversial and mind blowing, then great. Let's run with it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think some of the older cases as well, we really focus on a lot of this is America, and it's all these things that have happened in America and the USS Nimitz, and these cases. But actually, we've got a rich history in this country, haven't we? And England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, especially. There's a lot of cases, and if you really look back, and I know you've written about many of these cases and researched them, and it's almost as if we need to like refresh it, bring it back up, and keep reminding people, look, we've got these cases. We've got new analytical tools, I guess, to look at them again and to have a fresh take on some of these, and
Yeah,
just to keep them fresh in mind, because otherwise it feels like people will forget. It's just everything happened in 2017 and since.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, obviously we have to inform people because a lot of young people getting involved in the subject now, and they want to know what's out there. They want to know a lot of the information, obviously, is garnered on the internet, and it's not always the best place to do that because people can elaborate and put salt and pepper on a story and make it something that it clearly isn't. So we have to be very careful with the documentation and what's going out there, and that's why we have to be especially for us, strange phenomena investigations, we just want to make sure that what we're doing is factual and correct. Because if we get pulled up on it, then there'll be hell to pay. I mean, I've said it before in podcasts now. We ask questions that the witnesses almost throw us out the house. And I'll give you, for instance, excuse me, madam. Yes? You on any medication that may have caused you to hallucinate and maybe see what you think was a ghost? How dare you? And you've got to ask these questions, Jim, because if we don't, Joe Skeptic will say, why did you know I saw throwing medication? So we have to dot the I's and cross the T's. I've said it many, many times before. And even though I believe wholeheartedly in life after death as well, because of what? Because of the wealth of data that I've gathered over the years, speaking to clinical physicians and witnesses and this and that. It's not oxygen starvation in the brain and this, that, and the other. There clearly is something very, very mysterious going on there. And, I'm a spiritualist. That's my religion. And I just think that it's a wonderful subject to be involved with, And again, I always say to the audience at the end of my lectures, don't believe a word I've said. Go out yourselves and make up your own mind. By all means, what I've said today is true as far as I'm learning it, but do your own research. And it's like if you're trying to learn to drive a car, Jim, what do? Learn the highway code. And it's the same with the paranormal. You've got to immerse yourself in books of this nature and then get out the rubbish. There's the rubbish, get away and see what you're left with.
Yeah, yeah, fascinating. You've looked into and researched sort of CE5 and contact, and I understand that you had it's, I mean, firstly, it seems like are you aware of the Skywatcher guys and some of the stuff that's coming out of America at the moment, where they're talking about a lot of this summoning UFOs and stuff?
We had never, ever, ever tried the CE5 protocols, which was, well, as far as I'm led to believe, was started by Stephen Greer, although I dare say other people was working along the same lines. But certainly he propelled CE5 into the public domain. So we had never tried it in over 45 years, and we tried it for the first time at Bonnybridge last month, over a month and a half ago. And we consisted, I know it sounds crazy, and I felt crazy doing it. I'll be honest with you, I felt, oh my God, what am I doing? Right, everybody join hands, and I'm going to play some of these tones for Stephen Greer plays to create that ambience. And I asked the people who was all joining hands to really have sincere thoughts. I know it sounds Hollywood and crazy. Have sincere thoughts that you really, really want to make contact with something out there. Please desire it, really desire it. So we ran that for about 15, 20 minutes and hands up, nothing happened. Now, that's not to say anything might have happened if we had tried it longer or would did it again, because it's like the paranormal. You can't expect to see a ghost every time you go into a haunted house. It doesn't work like that. So it's like trial and error. And then we tried it at a wee place called Cairn Papel Hill a couple of weeks ago. And it's a 4,500-year-old Neolithic burial mound. If you can imagine Silbury Hill, right, the pudding-shaped hill. So that on top of a big hill. And so it's not sitting itself flat, it's on top of a big hill, this big mound. And round about it, you've got about a dozen or so pits, circular pits, which they found skeletons in when they excavated it back in the day. And so we tried it there as well. And admittedly, our psychic medium did channel through, again, it's crazy. Channel through this entity, this so-called alien and stuff like that. And I know the guy. The guy's fantastic, and he's a great psychic medium. And I would, you know, honestly, I stake my house on the guy being as true as the day long. But even he says, Malcolm, I don't know what happened. Suddenly, I just came over, and this, he's speaking in his own voice, Jim. But all this, we've been here for thousands of years, and we watch over mankind and all this nonsense. It's something like a George Adamski novel or something. So sometimes, even though we're friends and certain things, I do struggle. But my old saying, never, never throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because something looks and sounds ridiculous doesn't mean to say you should ignore it. Look at it from above, from below, from the side. So I never ever. I mean, I've met some crazy people in my life, or were they? And but again, you've got to just interview the people and see what it's all about, you know?
Yeah, yeah. We saw in the press quite recently that you were looking at doing an event. Is that still likely to happen, or what's the score?
It's a change of it's a change of SPI personnel at the moment. That's all I can say on that one. So that's been put on hold until we sort matters out.
Yeah.
And it's an in-house thing that's happening at the moment, Jim. One of these sad things. But once we get our cards together and our ducks in a row, as it were, then by golly, yes, we'll be doing that same thing again, and we'll be doing it again and again and again, and trial and error, see where we go.
Yeah, super. Please keep us informed about that. It'd be fantastic. Are you going to this event, the Calvine event? I think it's put on by is it Dr. David Clark and Andrew Robinson, I think. Those guys?
Yeah. I mean, I know Dr. David Clark very, very well. When I stayed in England, I mean, I did the shows and all that, and I've got my tickets, so I'll be there with my other half. And Dave wants me to bring Bob Taylor's ripped trousers. The trousers that
Oh,
are ripped.
wow.
So
Yeah.
I'll be bringing them on Saturday, and then I have to do some interviews with the people as well. Just the usual. But yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
Superb. I'm probably going to make it up the following day on the Sunday, so I'm hoping that there's still going to be a few people around. I was planning on being there, but I can't, just childcare related stuff. But that would be, I'll be up on the Sunday. We'll see who's about.
Well, we're staying the night, so we'll be travelling back Sunday, and depending on how you're fixed. Well, I mean, we don't need to go back straight away on Sunday morning. We could maybe go back because it's an open ticket we've got, so we could go back at maybe say 4, 5, 6 in the evening. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Superb. All right. I'll drop you an email. Superb. Well, look, Malcolm, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for talking to me. Where would be the best place for people to come and find your work and your books?
I guess Facebook, or just put my name, Malcolm Robinson, UFO books or ghost books in Amazon, in the top bar in Amazon, and you'll see all the books coming up there. And my favourite's the Nessie one.
Yeah.
That's the one I really enjoyed, Loch Ness, because I mean, I've been down in the submarine. I've spoken to so many people, and I've camped on the shores of Loch Ness. The place just grabs you in this mystical blanket. It's wonderful. It's great.
Yeah, such a wonderful case as well, isn't it? Just internationally known. I mean, it's such a huge case. I love it. I love all the mystery. Superb. Okay, Malcolm, really appreciate that. Thanks so much for talking to me. Hopefully we'll get together soon. Fingers crossed. And talk again.
Absolutely. Again, if there's anything we can help you with, Jim, let us know. And because that's what we're here to do. Help you, you help us. Everybody's a winner.
Absolutely, 100%. Superb. Awesome. Take care, Malcolm. Thanks
Cheers,
again.
mate. All
Bye.
the best. Cheers, Paul. Bye-bye.
Cheers.